Hey everyone, Brandon with Everyday EV here with another Chevy Bolt video. As you can see behind me, we have our 2019 Chevy Bolt EV, and next to me, we have a 2022 Chevy Bolt EV 2LT. And for today's video, I'm going to do a direct comparison with our 2019 to what was improved with the all-new Bolt EV. So let's get started. So let's start with the exterior of the all-new Bolt EV compared to our 2019 Bolt. As you can see, the 2022 is all brand new. It has a radically different exterior design from the old one. And to be honest, I think Chevy did a really good job with the new exterior. It's very futuristic, it's modern, and I think it definitely falls in line with some of the competitors in the price point. But the one thing that I really like about the 2022 Bolt is that it looks totally different from the old one. And that's a massive upgrade. Honestly, as an owner for somebody who has had this for about 2 years, the design of the older Bolt is starting to look a bit outdated to me, so I'm really happy that Chevy improved on this. The front of the vehicle has a flat front. It definitely looks more electric than this outgoing model with more open air intakes that kind of makes it look like a combustion vehicle. So I think Chevy did a good job with sealing off the front of the vehicle. You have these really cool split headlights. It's actually all one unit, LED headlights with LED accent lights as well as sequential turn signals. The outside of this is a massive upgrade. So from the back of the all-new Bolt EV, you can see that Chevy did a brand new taillight design. However, what you may think is the taillight is actually not the taillight, and I think that this is a room for improvement that I'm hoping will come with a future software update. The brake lights are actually down here. They're not these units. These are more of like an accent light at night, and then obviously you have your third brake light. But the only issue with that I see is that since these lights are so low for big SUVs, pickup trucks, or semi-trucks, they honestly might not be able to see that the brake lights are even on, which could cause an accident. But in terms of design, I definitely think that they did a really good job of making things more sculptured, more futuristic, and just honestly more aesthetically pleasing compared to our old Bolt EV that has more of like bug-shaped LED taillights and just a little bit of an unfinished rear end design. I think that Chevy did a really good job with this. Another thing that I want to point out with the rear ends of both of these Bolts is that the 2019 is way more of a structural appearance versus this more rounded version on the all-new Bolt EV. Another thing I want to point out is that both of these vehicles are actually the same body dimensions. However, some of the exterior design of the all-new Bolt, as I mentioned, is more rounded out. So it definitely has a more smoother exterior versus some of the more curvatures on the older Bolt. But I actually really like how Chevy is really bringing everything together with this futuristic design, and honestly, I really hope it carries into their future electric vehicles. So one thing that has been a major complaint of the old Bolt EVs was the interior. Honestly, the interior of our 2019 definitely feels like GM kind of cheapened out with some of the materials. It's very hard plastic. It's aesthetically pleasing, but there's definitely things that are not soft touch. It definitely does not feel of the price point. Well, with the all-new Bolt EV, Chevy has done a fantastic job with overhauling the entire interior to match some of the vehicles within this price point. It feels more upscale, there's a lot more soft touch materials, and honestly, it just feels way nicer to be in here than our 2019 Bolt. You also have a major upgraded feature, powered seats, which our old car does not have. You have a really nice leather steering wheel. Everything is soft touch in here. You have a really nice touchscreen that is high definition, as well as a high definition gauge cluster right here. And just being in here, it just feels like a totally different vehicle. So I wanted to highlight the interior screens because they are a massive upgrade over the 2019 as well as the 2021 Bolt EVs. This screen is the same size as what we see in the older vehicles. However, there are different graphics as well as more high definition. It's very visible, which I can definitely appreciate, which is similar to the old one. But in my opinion, this looks a lot nicer. And then over here, this is the one that has more of an upgrade compared to what we're used to. As you can see, you have this really nice piano black with actual physical buttons right below the touchscreen right here, and the piano black stretches across the dashboard. But what's really nice about this is that this is Chevy's brand new operating system, and you have your different applications throughout this tablet style touchscreen. But what's really cool is that the older Bolt, which you can see ours right there, doesn't have, well, it does have over-the-air software updates, but honestly, we have not received a single one. But I wanted to highlight in here, if you click on apps, it's going to pull up different apps that you can actually install onto your vehicle, which is super cool. Amazon Alexa, audiobooks, Pandora, Spotify. But I want to highlight is that there are actually over-the-air software updates that you can download for these mobile applications within your car. Now, what's also really cool is that I believe these work independent from Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto, so you can definitely utilize a lot of new features in the all-new Bolt EV. The new Bolt EV, the powertrain has actually remained the same as the 2020 Bolt EVs. It still has a 66 kilowatt-hour battery pack with 201 horsepower, so the powertrain has not changed at all. The majority of the differences in this vehicle versus the 2020 is all the design on the exterior as well as a major interior overhaul. So we're going to go on a quick drive to see how this car feels versus our 2019, and we will do a comparison video. So here we are on the inside of the all-new Bolt EV. We're going to go for a quick test ride. As I mentioned, the powertrain remains the same from the 2020 Bolt EV, but there has been some rumors that they have made the ride more comfortable. Well, I'm hoping it's more comfortable than our 2019 because the suspension tends to be a bit rough on our Cleveland roads. So we're gonna get started. One thing that's really unique about this, and I'm not sure if you guys can see it from the camera, but you have this nice push button gear selector. It definitely looks more upscale compared to the old shift lever knob thing. But so pretty much you have your park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then your one pedal driving. So all you have to do to go into drive, you push this up, the car will go into drive, and since I'm used to regen, we'll put one pedal driving on, and now we should be good. So right away, I'm noticing that the Bolt EV is very quiet on the inside compared to our 2019. The nice thing about the steering wheel is, yes, it is a little bit thinner than ours. However, it does have a flat bottom, which definitely gives it a more sportier appearance. But it rides really well, and I'm noticing that all the graphics with this touchscreen as well as the gauge cluster in front of me, everything is totally redesigned. I really, really like that. One other thing, right away I'm actually noticing that the suspension is actually softer. Some of the roads in our area tend to be a bit bumpy, but right away everything feels more insulated and just more solid. Definitely impressed with that. So one thing that I'm already noticing that is a negative of the upgrades is the sound of the blinker. It's very old sounding, like old vehicle sounding, very tingy. To me, it's almost a step back compared to what our vehicle sounds like when we put the blinker on. But I mean, honestly, compared to some of the upgrades in this vehicle, that's literally the last thing you might even like realize. So we are driving on one of the most bumpiest roads in our area, and right away you can feel that the car is well more controlled over these bumps compared to our 2019. We were even joking as we were driving that in our 2019 we'd probably hit our head on the roof because it's like a stagecoach. It's definitely not very comfortable, but this is a huge improvement over our 2019. So I am now turning on to one of the bumpiest streets in the area. This is going to be a really good test for the suspension. As mentioned, it hasn't been confirmed that they reworked the suspension, but it definitely feels like a more solid vehicle. Maybe Chevy put more insulation into the vehicle, or maybe it's just better put together. But right away, riding over these cement roads, it handles a lot better. I know I did have a little gripe with the turn signals. I agree with my backseat passengers that it's actually starting to, I'm kind of warming up to it. It's not too bad. But then again, I don't know what a futuristic turn signal might sound like. If you have an idea, definitely leave a comment. I'd love to know. But right away, it feels way more solid. This is actually a road that, like, it's kind of embarrassing to take our Bolt EV down because it hurts. It honestly almost hurts to drive down this, but this isn't bad. Especially going over that bump. So with all new vehicles, we always like to do a horn test because some horns sound like clown noses, other horns actually sound like horns. But this one is a bit intense. You can actually feel the floor of the vehicle vibrate when you do it. So I'm coming up to a stop sign. Hopefully I don't scare anybody, but let's do that again. It honestly sounds like a Bolt horn. I can't get over that. I kind of want to do it again. I don't scare anybody. I love it. I think I found my favorite feature of the all-new Bolt EV. So basically, the first thing I noticed that this car feels way more put together. It definitely feels a lot more solid compared to our 2019 Bolt. My backseat passengers feel like it's way more comfortable. They must have changed something with the suspension to make it more tolerable in the backseat. Honestly, I've sat in the backseat of our Bolt EV and sometimes you feel like you're gonna fly through the roof. It's rough. So definitely appreciate their opinion. I think it definitely is well more put together. The interior feels way more quiet. Everything feels way more upscale. It's more comfortable. The seats are fantastic. Honestly, I could probably take this on a few-hour road trip without feeling uncomfortable at all. Steering wheel is nice. Everything just feels put together. And the one thing that I've always appreciated about the Bolt EV is that when you put your foot on the accelerator, it does still throw you back. And this vehicle still has that. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about this car. So anyway, everyone, that's going to be it for today's video. Honestly, I think the all-new Bolt EV is a massive improvement over the old one. As much as I actually do love our 2019 Bolt EV, I'm definitely interested in experiencing this more. If you guys are interested in checking out more of the Bolt EV, definitely go to Chevy's website, build it, go through the configurator. There's a lot of goodies that this vehicle now offers. And as always, guys, if you are interested, make sure you like and share this video with your friends. Please consider subscribing to Everyday EV. And as always, make sure you're taking care, staying safe, and make every day electrifying. I'll see you in the next one.